Preventing waste is an important issue. About 1.3 million tons of plastic bottles go into trash or are littered each year, according to the Container Recycling Institute. A green chemist should aim to avoid creating waste at all, instead of planning on treating waste during the synthesis. Just as in everyday life, if you are pouring a cup of water, rather than not paying attention and planning on cleaning up, you should be attentive to prevent spilling before it happens. The EPA is a government organization that is supposed to prevent dangerous chemicals from being produced and sold, but has not been very effective. According to Michael Wilson of Green Chemistry in California, over 62,000 chemicals in commerce were grandfathered in after health standards were implemented, and 20,000 new chemicals have been introduced, of which 85% have no health data and 67% have no data at all. For this reason, the responsibility to design safer chemicals and products has become the chemist's responsibility. This responsibility can be thought of as trying to arrive at product B from reagents A through the safest possible chemical pathways. This is similar to how a bicyclist should take the safest pathway possible going from location A to location B. Mercury is a very hazardous chemical. Recently, mercury-containing cells in the fillings of teeth have been replaced with polymer membranes found in chloroalkali plants. This is much like how you and me should aim to be as safe as possible in our everyday lives by avoiding dangerous situations, such as choosing to hand scissors instead of throwing them. Americans alone consume approximately 140 billion gallons of gasoline yearly, and this number is expected to increase by 20% over the next 20 years, according to an article published in 2009 by Melinda Winter of Scientific America. Gasoline extracted from fossil fuels is not a renewable feedstock, as Earth's oil pockets are a finite source and will eventually dry up. To illustrate this, one can imagine using paper cups that will eventually run out, leaving you with nothing to drink out of, as opposed to using a glass cup that can be cleaned and reused over and over again by different people. A catalyst is a component that speeds up a chemical reaction but is not consumed. Catalysts lower the activation energy of chemical reactions to allow increased efficiency. Stoichiometric reagents means depending on stoichiometric ratios to drive the reaction forward. The difference between these two methods in efficiency and practicality is much like the difference between doing math by hand and doing math with a calculator. Measuring a reaction as it runs is a more environmentally friendly method in chemical analysis because one can stop the pollution before it happens. Not analyzing real time would be like if you or me put a pitcher of water under the sink and then walked away as it spilled and overflowed. In this metaphor, analyzing real time would then be filling up the pitcher and watching the water level as it fills. Atom economy is defined as the molecular weight of the desired product divided by the molecular weight of all the reactants in the chemical equation. Basically, it is how much you get out of what you want out of what you are working with. Maximizing atom economy is analogous to maximizing the amount of popcorn one gets out of a bag. The seeds can be thought of as the reactants, and the pop seeds can be thought of as the desired product. Chemists are now trying to redesign reactions in order to eliminate or reduce the use of dangerous solvents. For example, benzene, a known carcinogen, has been used as a solvent in chemical reduction for nylon and developing photographs. Chemists have successfully used glucose, which is just a sugar, to produce these chemicals instead. This can be thought of as using a space heater to keep warm instead of making a fire in your room. Chemists today are developing new chemical reactions that operate at ambient temperatures and pressures. This change in efficiency is comparable to using a screwdriver to tighten screws versus using your bare hands, where one requires a smaller input of energy and gives more desired output. The littering of plastic products over the last few decades has led to trash masses in the Pacific Ocean that have been estimated to be as big as twice the size of Texas. If these plastics were developed to degrade after use, these masses would not exist. Not creating chemicals that degrade after use as a chemist is like leaving your trash out on the table in your house as opposed to throwing it away. Minimizing the potential for accidents is a virtue that we can all understand and appreciate the importance of. When distracted, one can easily slip and fall on things such as a skateboard that has been left on the ground, a problem that would be easily fixed if you minimize the potential for accidents. Chemical derivatives are basically chemicals that are modified for certain processes. These should be avoided because more resources are required and more waste is produced in using these derivatives. Text messaging is a derivative of conversation, which should be avoided when regular conversation is possible to save money on phone bills and time.